Yeah, hello everyone. So this side Sagar. In last session, we have created this UI using HTML and Bootstrap. And now in this session, we are going to implement the functionality of this particular project. So our requirement is in this text box, we want to enter the username of any users who are registered on the GitHub platform. So if I enter here GitHub username and if I click on search button, we should be able to receive that particular user data. So what data we are going to receive means we will receive that user image if he updated, or else by default you will get here GitHub icon or GitHub logo, or we can say GitHub image. And here we are going to get the username of the user. In case if user updated description, that description we will get, or else we will add this by default this description. And we have here one profile button. And in this section, we are going to display first 10 repositories of that particular user. Now every user can have lot of repositories, so we don't want to display all the repositories. We just want to display first 10 repositories. If he has if he has minimum 10 repositories, all those 10 repositories will be displayed here. In case if that user doesn't have 10 repositories, if we have less repositories, we will display only those repositories what he have created. And in remaining places, we will display no repositories to display. Some message we will display. And wherever we are displaying the repositories, there we will display the green color. And if repositories are not able to display, we will show the red color. So this functionality we have to implement here. So to implement this functionality, we require two APIs. The first API is you are getting the user details like image, this name, this description. We require one more API using which we can get all the repositories information. So from where you are going to get that APIs means, so for that GitHub is giving us one URL, that is api.github.com. If you visit this API or if you visit this URL, you are going to get all the list of APIs provided by GitHub. So here we want this users URL API. This API we want, I will just copy this and here I will create one file api.txt and here I will paste GitHub API. So this is the API we have. So we require this API. So let's see what we are going to do. So now if you observe here, we have this text box. So we have like this text box. So this is the text box we have here. This is the text box we have here now. Okay, so what we are going to do here, user will enter some details. Here user is going to enter some username. He will enter, for example, he will enter something like Kabir Sagi. Now this is the username of my GitHub and he will click on this button. The moment he click on this button, what we want to do first, from this text box, we want to access this username. So the first step is we have to access the data from the text box. Once we access this data from the text box, second, we have to send get request with username using fetch API. Using fetch function, or we can say fetch API, we are going to send a get request. Now to send the GET request with fetch API, we required GitHub URL, and that is what this URL we are going to take. So using this URL, we are going to pass our request. And here instead of user, we have to pass here username. This username, whatever we are accessing from this text box, that we have to pass. Now one request will go to the GitHub server, and based on that username, it will send the response to us. Now third step, what we have to do is receive the response. After receiving the response, fourth step is append the data in the UI. So whatever UI we have created, in that we have to append that data. These are the steps what we have to implement. So when all these steps we have to do once user click on this button. So to do all these steps, to implement all these steps, what we are going to do is we will create one JavaScript function. We are going to create one JavaScript function. Create a JavaScript function and call the function on click of button. On click of button, we have to call that function. See here, I will go to my VS Code. I will close this file. Now here I have search button. This is my search button. Now on this button, I will add here on click. Whenever I click on this button, I want to call one function called get users data. Now we don't have this function, so we have to define this function. So here we have JavaScript file. Here I will create one function get users data. Now first we have to get the data from this input element. So to get the data from this input element, first we have to get the DOM element of this input element. But before that, let's check whether we are able to call this function on click of that button or not. So before we proceed with our task, first let's check whether we are able to call this function or not. So what we need to do, this JavaScript file we have to link with our HTML file. So here we have link, here we have style, and here I will add one script tag, src attribute, and I will connect my JavaScript file. Now let's go to the browser, let's refresh, and let's click on this search. The moment we click on this search, we got here alert. Means on click of the button, we are able to call the function. Now inside this function, what logic we have to write? Now whatever here I have given in the paint file, right? All this we have to implement. So the first step what we have to do is we have to access the data from the text box. So to access the data from that text box, first we have to get the DOM element of input element. How to get the DOM element of input element? For that, we can use document dot query selector of input. When you say document dot query selector of input, it returns input DOM element. So we can hold in one variable. This is input DOM element. Now using this input DOM element, we can access the value. So where I will say username equals to input DOM element dot value. So if you want this, both these steps we can do in one step as well. But I'm keeping it little simple so that you can understand the concept. So first get the DOM element of the input element and then access the value of input element using input DOM element. Now, once we have the value, now we have to send the request. To send the request, we have to use fetch. Now we know that fetch returns a promise. So to handle that promise, we use then. But whatever data we get in the promise, that is in the binary format. We have to convert that into JSON format. So for that, we have to define one callback function here. And this callback function will have one parameter where we are going to receive the data. So when we send the request using fetch, we are going to get one response. That response we can access here. But whatever data we have in this response, it is in the binary format. Binary means it will be in the 0 ones format. We cannot understand it. So we need to convert that into JSON format. So for that, this response.json we have to do. Now this JSON function does two things. First, whatever data we have in this response in the binary format, it will convert that into JSON format. Then internally it creates one promise. This JSON function internally creates one promise, and that converted data it will add in that promise. And then it returns that promise. Means JSON function directly doesn't return the data. Internally it creates one promise. Whatever data which is in the binary format, it will convert that data into JSON format, and then that JSON format data it will add in that promise, and then that promise it will return. So if you want, you can handle that promise here. Now, instead of handling here, what we are going to do, we will return that promise from here and we will handle outside. So we are taking one more time then, because here JSON also returns a promise. Now here also one callback function, and from that promise, we are going to access the data. So this is our actual data. So let's console.log and check whether we are receiving the data or not. If anything goes wrong, then in that case, catch will execute. So here also I will add one callback function and I will say alert, and I will add here something went wrong. Now what went wrong? That information we can get through this error parameter. So here maybe I will add console.log of error. Now save it. Now we require the URL. So I will go to this API. Now here we have to pass the dynamic value. So I will copy this URL. I will go back here. Now here I am taking backticks and I will pass that URL. And here I have to pass username, nothing but this value I have to pass here by using string template. So here I am taking backtick and then I am pasting that URL, and we need to pass here dynamic part. So dynamic pass we can pass using string template. Now let's come back here. Now let's check whether we are able to get the data or not. So let's go back here. Let's refresh. Now right click, inspect. And here I am searching Apple. Let's check whether we will get Apple company details or not. If I click on search, now see I got here data. So I'm receiving one object in that this is the avatar URL. This URL we have to assign to this image element so that that image will be displayed. And if you scroll down here somewhere, you will find description. This is the name, and description also you should be able to find somewhere here. So here we are not able to find bio. Yeah, bio description means bio. So they did not given the uh, key name as a description. Instead of that, they have given the term bio. So Apple doesn't have any bio, so it's a null. So when it is a null, then we have to display this default bio. If there is any bio, then that bio we have to display. So here see lot of informations we are getting. Company name is also null, created when this account is created. Email is also null. Totally this many peoples are the followers of Apple company, 32,412 on the GitHub. They are not following anyone. Like this, lot of information is present. So we want here one more information, that is repos URL. So this is the URL. So if you send the request to this URL, you will get all the repository information. See, I'm copying that, adding here. Now here I will get repository information. So if you want repositories information, then you have to send the request. One more request we have to send to this URL. So what we are going to do now, from this data, we will capture bio data. We will capture this avatar URL data. Then we will capture this name information and we will capture this repos URL. These are the information we will extract from this data. See here. Now here we are going to receive the data, right? So here I will say var repo URL. So from that data dot repos URL. So we have to be very careful with the key names what they have given. So here it is a repos URL. So here also variable name also will take repos URL. Then we have to capture name where name equals to data dot name. We have to access bio. So where bio equals to data dot bio. So what we are doing now, whatever response we are getting from that response, we are accessing the data and we are storing in some variable. And we want repos name avatar URL. So where image, or I will say here user image equals to data dot this one avatar URL. So I have to copy this key and I will paste here. Now these values we have to assign to our following UI. So first we have to access this image. Now to this image, that image we have to assign. We have to access H4. We have to access paragraph. These are the three things we have to access now. So here I will say var, or we don't require var, directly we can say document dot query selector of img. So till here I will get that image DOM element. To that image we have to assign src, and src value should be user image. Whatever URL we are storing in this variable, after accessing from here, that we are assigning. Same way, document dot query selector of h4 dot inner text equals to, we have to assign this name. This name we have to assign. Next, bio document dot query selector of p. Here we will assign bio. If bio is not there, if bio is null, then we want to assign this content as it is. So I will just copy this and I will paste here. I will paste here. So we got, let's see whether we are going to get the data or not. Now here I will refresh. I will search for Apple. And if I click on search, now something went wrong. Say we get here Apple. Let's see here something went wrong. It is saying that invalid left hand side in assignment, line number 25. Let's see. Line number 25. Console.log error. Okay, that error we got, but where we got that error? On the line number 21 or 16. Achha, here it is not accepting this part. It is saying that You cannot assign like this. So let me just remove this part and let me check again. Now if I go back here, refresh, Apple, search. Again, we got something went wrong. Maybe 16. Let's check what is we have on 16. Maybe spelling mistake. Are we doing any spelling mistake here? BIO, bio. So let's comment this again. Let's try. Okay, let me comment this part as well, or else this part will become error. Now I will say Apple search. So we got the data here properly. So avatar is fine. Bio is null. Let me just try for other like Microsoft. I will try. Now for Microsoft, see we got here some bio. Okay, let's go back here. Let's uncomment this and let's try again. Now I will start for Microsoft. So there is no error here. Data.bio. Yes. So here we will do one thing, guys. What we are going to do means, uh, so document.query selector of paragraph we have taken and we are assigning bio. Let's try here. Let's refresh. Let's go with Microsoft. Search. Something went wrong. Document.query selector of P and here we are assigning bio. But why bio is not applying? Invalid left hand side in assignment. Okay, here we have paragraph only, right? So we have paragraph and here also document.query selector of paragraph. Hmm. So here we got properly. Any spelling mistake we are not doing. Everything is looking good. Okay, let me just add here some string. Okay, the mistake here, I am not using inner text only. My mistake. Inner text we have to use now. See, one small mistake I have done here. I am missing here inner text. Directly we cannot assign to the DOM element. Such a small mistake we are doing here. So here we have to add bio and then or, and here I have to paste it this part. And let's go back and let's add here. Now come back. Now let's refresh. Now let's add here Apple. We should get our data. So we get Apple data. So Apple doesn't have any description, so we are getting this part. But if I search for Microsoft, because Microsoft has the description, and now here I am getting that bio. So we are able to get that data. So the small mistake what I did is, here I was not passing inner text. So directly to the DOM element, I was assigning the value. That's why I was getting that issue. So here we got here image, we got H4, we got paragraph. Now what we need to do, using this repo URL, we have to send one more request. So here what I will do, I will use one more time fetch. And here I will pass this repo URL and dot then, here also dot then. And here I will pass one callback function. Now here also I'm going to receive the first response, which will be in the binary format. So return response.json I will say. In the same way, here also one callback function. And here I will get the response, nothing but data. And here let me do the console.log of data. Let's see whether we are getting this data or not. So let's go back. Let's refresh. Let's right click, inspect. And here I will say now Apple. The moment I say Apple and click on search, now here I got this data and see here I got one array. In this array, I am able to receive 30 repositories. So maximum this API can retrieve 30 repositories. But I don't want to display all the 30. I just want to display only first 10. So from this array, we have to extract first 10 repositories. So how to extract first 10 repositories? Extract first 10 repositories. So for this, I will say var repos data equals to, on this data, I can apply slice. And I want 0 to 10. So I am saying that from this array, you extract only first 10 repositories. Now, once you extract first 10 repositories, then what you need to do? You have to access all these LIs now. All these LIs we have to access. So how we can access all these LIs? Access all the LIs. So to access all the LIs, what we are going to do? We are going to use document.query selector all of LIs. We are going to use document.query selector all. So it returns one array, nothing but collection of LIs. It will return collection of LI. So all the LI DOM elements we are going to get, which will be in the array format. Now on this collection of Li, we will call for each function. And we will access each Li. We will access each Li. And initially what we will do, all this Li color, we will make red. Initially, all the Li color we will make red. And on all this Li, we will add inner text content as no repos to display. So what we are doing, once we send the request to get all repositories, and once we get the data, then from that data, we are accessing first 10 repositories. Then we are accessing all the LIs. And now each LI color, first we are making red, and the content of all the LI, we are adding no repos to display. See here. Now why I am doing, I will explain. Now here I have bootstrap repo by default. So here I will say, for example, I will say here Apple, and I will click on search. The moment I click on search, I got here Apple details, but here if you see, no repos to display, all the repos color I got red. Now why I am doing means, for some users you will have 10 repos. For some users you will have less than 10 repos. Suppose you are searching here one user called Sagar. Now let's assume that this user is created only 4 repos. So when we click on search, we will display his 4 repos here. After that, this 6 LIs are empty, right? So in these 6 LIs, we will display this title, no repos to display, in the red color. And when we are displaying our repos here, we will display that repos in green color. How to do? That is what we are going to do now. So first what we will do, first we will make all the LIs as no repos to display, and the color of the content we will make red. Once this part is done, then what we are going to do, whatever data we have received here, this is the data of 10 repositories. Now on this data, so maybe here, on that data, we will again use for each. Now remember, on the data which we got, this is the collection of repositories. On this I am using for each. Now for each will give us each repo access, and there will be one index parameter. We will get the index number. So what we are going to do now, this repo URL, we have to assign to our LI. So we will say collection of LIs of this index number, because this is one array. In that I am based on index number, I am accessing the first LI, and to that I will assign, or here, dot inner text equals to repo dot, we have to say HTML underscore URL. So if I go back here and if I inspect, and now here, if I expand one repo information, now here there is a property called HTML URL. This is the property to which our repo URL is assigned. So this URL we have to display here. So we have to use HTML URL. Now save it. Now if I go back here and if I refresh, and now if I search for Apple, now see here by default it's a bootstrap repo. We will change this title also. Now see, all the repos are displayed, but all the repos are in the red color. So what we are going to do here, we will say collection of index dot style dot color equals to green. Now if I go back here again, if I refresh, if I say Apple, and if I click on search, see, all the repos are displayed in the green color now. Now there is a user called Sagar. Now this user is having only 4 or 5 repositories. So if I click on search, now his 4 repositories, whatever he created, that are displayed in the green color. But more than 4 he don't have. So in remaining places, we are displaying no repos to display, no repos to display, and those are displayed in the red color. So if there is any user who is having less than 10 repos, so how to handle that situation? For this, we have written our first for each. So first we are making all the LIs color red, and in all the LIs we are adding this content. Then based on repositories, we are replacing that content with the repository URL, and whichever LI having repositories, that LI color we are making green. Now here if I search, now Microsoft. Now Microsoft image, Microsoft username, Microsoft bio, and see Microsoft having more than 10 repositories. So we are accessing all the 10 repositories and displaying in the green color. So finally, we are able to develop this project. Now I can search any user. I will get the user information. If I search my GitHub username, now here I will get the my details. See my details. I don't have any bio. I don't have any image. So by default, I'm getting GitHub image here. And these are the repository names of all the repositories I am adding here. So like this, I can search any user. For example, I'm searching something like Sneha. Now here I got Sneha. Now Sneha doesn't have even one repository. So no repositories to display. So what we want whenever our application loads, right? So this content I want to display initially. So whenever my application loads, here instead of showing bootstrap repo, I want to show no repositories to display. So here I will select this, right click, change all occurrence, and I will paste here no repos to display. So initially it will show in the black color, but when I search, now if I'm just searching something like Raj Verma, now here no repositories. Maybe I will search for Valu Naik. Now here I got the repositories information I'm getting here. So here we are able to display the content. So finally we are able to develop. If you observe here, so we have done multiple things. So first we are accessing the DOM element of input, and from that input we are accessing the value, and then we are sending the request. Send get request to GitHub server. Now after getting the request, here what we are doing, access image DOM element and assign image URL to it. This is what we have done. In the same way, here also access h4 DOM element and assign name to it. And then access paragraph DOM element and assign bio to it. Bio to it. And here what we are doing, I will remove this console, accessing the repo URL from response, and here accessing the username from response, accessing bio from response, accessing image URL from response. Here again sending get request to get the GitHub repo information. So I will remove this console from here, extract access. Here first make all LIs color, LIs content color, to red and change inner text to no repos to display. And then access each repo from response. Access each repo from response and assign to each li and change its color, change its content color to green. And here we are doing one more thing, right? Yeah. So this is already done. So all the comments I have added here. So you should be able to understand what code we have written here. Okay. So that's all guys for this session. Now I'm going to conduct one more workshop. So very soon I will release the details of next workshop. And as I have told, I am starting with new project batch. And this is the output of that project batch, guys. Just have a look on this output. So let me just start this video. So I have created a video on this output. So we will create sign in form and sign up form. So user can create account, user can log in. So once user is getting logged in with his credentials, now for this we are going to develop backend API, everything we are going to manage. And it will land on home page and it will show you the list of all the users. And then we can open any user chat and we can see his chat. If you want, you can filter any user. If you want, you can start new chat for any specific user. And for your users, you can add here messages. Like here, I'm typing hello Viraj. And if I click on send, that message went here. Now, not only message, if I want, I can send the emojis as well. So here I am sending like this emojis. If I want, I can send images also. Now I am sending one image. Like this, I can open any user chat and I can see all the messages of that user. If I say hi Raj, now one message will go to the Raj. Hi Raj. So like this, we can send. So if you want to learn, this is the profile page. So if you want to learn how to develop this UI end to end, step by step from React till Node Express and MongoDB, then you can register yourself in our project batch. So to register yourself on the project batch, in description, I will put one form link. You can fill that form so that I can get your details and then I can contact you. Yeah. So that's all guys. Remaining things we will discuss in the next workshop.